Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. Tonight I'm going to show you my favorite way to make stuffed peppers. First thing that we have going here is some garlic and onions in a little bit of butter in our saute pan. And I'm going to go ahead and add in some ground beef. Now tonight I'm using ground beef. I will fluctuate between using ground beef and using some other form of ground meat, whether that's sausage or turkey. Really anything works in this. And if you needed to make a vegetarian or vegan option, you could just use vegan meat crumbles instead. So now we're going to brown up our ground beef. And while all this is going on, I also have in my pot here some couscous that's ready to go in here. This is Israeli couscous. I like to use that because it's a little bit more fun than rice. It's a little bit of a different texture since it's more of a pasta than a rice, but you can use either one. And that's the great thing about stuffed peppers is basically no matter what you've got, you can fill it and stuff it and it's always going to be delicious. So I'm going to brown this meat and bring you back once we're ready to go with our next step. So while our ground beef is browning, I'm going to be cutting up our bell peppers. You can use any color that you like for these. One tip, so I cut mine a little bit different. I don't slice them in half, so I stand mine up. So when you're looking for your pepper, for your stuffed pepper, first thing you want to pay attention to is how big is it, because if you want the most stuffing in it, then you're going to want a big one, not a small one. Second thing to look for is if you can find one that has 4 little legs on the bottom. That one has 4. Like this one has 3. So this one, it does stand up, but some of them that have 3, they're kind of really rounded and they don't like to stand up quite right. So if you can find one that has 4, it's really nice and sturdy and it stands up really nice and straight. So what I'm gonna do is cut off the very top of this and then go around with my knife and just cut out that interior. And you can get in a little bit finer there and cut out the ribs too. So that's not really tasty. Okay, and just kind of tap that out. And that is gonna be a lovely bell pepper cup. And I do like to keep my little lids. You can put this back on top, or if you want, because we are going to be topping these with cheese, so if you want the cute presentation, you can put it back on top like that. Or if you don't care about that, you just want to have it covered in cheese, you can chop these up and put it inside the filling. Welcome back, guys. So our ground beef is nice and browned up. We're ready to go ahead and start seasoning and making all of our filling. So seasoning is going to be pretty simple. You can really do whatever you want here at this step. What I'm using tonight is some bouillon cubes. It's tomato bouillon with chicken flavoring in there. So that's going to give us a little bit of nice flavor. I'm also going to, of course, add some black pepper and some salt in here. Maybe. Okay. Get your seasonings nice and mixed in. I also have some fresh parsley here that we're gonna put in there. About 2 tablespoons worth of that. And then 2 of the bell pepper lids I chopped up, and we're gonna put that in here as well. Next thing we're gonna be using is tomato paste to give it that nice tomatoey base. Now with this, you can use the tomato paste like I'm doing tonight. I'm gonna make a little well for it here. You can use the tomato paste, or you can use a can of crushed tomatoes or a can of diced tomatoes. Basically, whatever tomato product you have to give it that nice tomatoiness. but I really like to use the paste because it's more of a concentrated flavor. If you don't want it super tomatoey, but you want it to have some of that richness in the background, the tomato paste is really good for that. And just because I happen to have it on hand, I don't normally, I'm not using a ton of the paste, and I'm gonna kind of reconstitute it with some tomato juice. You don't want it to be like really soupy, but you do want it to have some kind of almost gravy likeness. I love this tomato paste that's in like a metal toothpaste kind of container. I think it's so awesome because tomato paste, it usually comes in a small can, but usually whatever you're making, you don't end up using the whole can for. So I think it's great having it in this paste form that you can just squeeze out what you need and then put the rest in the fridge. This is just a cup of couscous, and I would recommend a pound of ground beef, although tonight I have 2 pounds because the package I had in the freezer was 2 pounds. So just gonna get this mixed in. I might add just a little bit more tomato juice in there just to sauce it up a little bit. I'd say if you're adding liquid, probably half a cup to 3/4 of a cup, depending on how much filling you have. Okay, so that is beautiful. We're gonna go ahead and fill our cups, which ladle here. You want to fill them nice and full. So our stuffed peppers are now filled, and I almost always have extra filling. But what I like to do with that is just put that in the bottom of my baking dish. And that's just gonna bake right along with the stuffed peppers and basically just be a little bit of extra filling that I can give to everybody on their plate. Now we're gonna top this off with some cheese. I have Colby Jack cheese tonight. Again, you can really use any kind of cheese that you want that melts well. And get a little bit of cheese on the topping there. And then we're gonna put this in a 325-degree oven for the next 20 to 30 minutes. Here are our finished stuffed peppers. It's gonna be delicious.